we had a candidates forum here where all the candidates were invited to speak, and they were able to give their time to speak, and then again we asked them questions. Tonight we want you to meet the candidates and hear again what they have to say, and then after it's done, we will have a couple of questions to ask them, and then we'll open it up for the audience to ask questions. All right? Obviously, if we have too many questions, we may have to put a stop because we do have other candidates that have to speak, so we want to give them sufficient time. We're going to start with 5 minutes for each candidate, so that way they have time. And if you do need some extra time, if you're a little bit over that, we could extend you a minute or so beyond that. And then when our timekeepers laughed a little bit there. And then after that, we'll ask you a couple questions from the ABC group. And after that, it's open. All right? Okay. Let me get my notes here. Okay. I'm going to start with our state comptroller running for office. And that's Tim Curtin.
Yes.
Tim? Thank you for coming, Tim.
Thank you very much. Well, my name is Tim Curtin, former resident of Berwyn, as a matter of fact. Lived over on Euclid for a couple of years. Live in Hillside now. And I am the candidate of the Green Party of Illinois. Now, as an independent, it takes a lot more work. We went out and we talked to over 53,000 voters. And what we found is that people are fed up. They're really mad in our state. And I think there's a good reason. We don't have a balanced budget. We're in violation of the state constitution, which makes no sense. So we're refusing to balance the budget. We're cutting money to public schools. Now, the state constitution says we should be paying the majority. We're the lowest state in the union, which is obscene. Why is that? It's because the state is not doing its job. It's not doing its job, so what happens? What happens is the burden goes on homeowners. Right now, see, I live in District 209. It's a very poor district. Forest Park, Hillside, Maywood, Bellwood. Terrible schools. Terrible schools. We don't have any money because the property tax base is very low. Same thing in the district here, the Morton district. There's not a lot of money. So, and since it's based on property taxes, you don't get the same kind of education. And that is the fault of the state. That's the fault of the state. Why is it that we don't fund education properly? Why is it that the state does not do their job? So one of the things I intend to do, I think we need not only to balance the budget, we need to raise more money. I was at a debate at the Chicago Tribune about a week and a half ago. And with all due respect, both parties said, it's your fault. I think it's the fault of the system that we've got. We've got pay for play. The people who we elect. Now, as a Green Party member, we don't take corporate funds. We don't take PAC money. I've got a campaign war chest of $400. But I don't mind that. I would rather be independent and be responsible to the voters. That's what the people are looking for. So what I want to do is I want to raise some money. There has been for years House Bill 106 that has been languishing. It's a bill that was put in by State Representative Mary Flowers for 6 years now. It's called the Financial Transactions Tax. For 6 years it's been languishing in committee. Mike Madigan has kept it bottled up. This bill could raise $10 to $12 billion in funds. Why aren't we using it? Why don't we use something like that? Lord knows we need the money. Lord knows homeowners and taxpayers could use some relief. If you vote for me for state comptroller, I'm going to be the people's advocate. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to campaign. We ought to have hearings on House Bill 106. We ought to start talking about that. $10 to $12 billion. What could we do with that? We could begin to balance the budget. If we balance the budget, I saw before I came over here on NBC, we have a credit rating just below junk. So we need to balance the budget. We need to begin to properly fund public education. Every child should get a decent education. You shouldn't have to live in River Forest and have rich parents to get a good education. Everybody ought to get a good education. We ought to balance the budget. We ought to get a good education, and everybody, and we need to put back social services that have been cut in our state. It's obscene. So in closing, I would say, look, if you like the way Springfield is running, vote for them. If you'd like to help me raise hell, vote for me. Thank you.
Okay, again, I failed to read the little flyer that they brought here. Again, it's a Green Party for Comptroller, Tim Curtin, over 30 years experience as a union organizer and committed to getting Illinois out of debt. Why should you vote for Tim Curtin? He is the only independent progressive candidate. He's green, so he does not take money from corporations, labor unions, or big donors. He supports the LaSalle Street tax, which would put a small tax on selective destructive stock trades, balancing the budget in Illinois. He would push for a fair graduated income tax. All right, so that's for Tim. Tim, since you're the only one here running for that office, we have a couple questions for you. Come on up.
Sure.
Okay. In the past, it has been suggested that this office be eliminated and combined with the Treasurer's office. Do you agree with that?
I support that entirely. But what I think we have to do is not just eliminate it. If we're going to combine it with the treasurer, which is, I assume, what you're talking about, what we need is an independent office of auditor. Now, prior to 1970, we had that in the earlier Constitution. And what I mean by that is we have to have something. Everybody ought to know how the people's money is being spent. Everybody. You shouldn't have to go to Springfield to find out what is happening with your money. So what I would do, I would support eliminating the office, but we need companion legislation, an independent auditor that would go around the state of Illinois, hold hearings so that people could find out what the devil we're doing with the money. You'd be able to ask questions. You could get it online, and they ought to publish so that everybody would know exactly what is happening with the people's money. To my way of thinking, that's the only way we're going to change things in this state.
The second question, you kind of touched on it before in your speech. How will you help resolve the state's financial mess?
Well, House Bill 106. Some people call it the LaSalle Street tax, financial transactions tax. What it is this. Chicago Mercantile Exchange, Chicago Board of Trade Options. There are literally billions of dollars in electronic trades that goes through those institutions every day. Now, they can't move them because it's the only place that has them. The proposal for House Bill 106 is simple. The average trade is $200,000. If you would tax it only $1 to $2, you could raise that 10 to 12 billion. Why not? The way I look at it, half the guys are selling pork bellies. The other half are buying pork bellies, and they make a big buck on both sides, so they don't lose. But they don't pay tax. Why should they not pay tax? I look at it as a form of gambling. Now, the casinos pay 11%, okay? These guys pay 0%. If they pay a couple of bucks on a trade, it would give everybody else in the state a break. We desperately need it.
Thank you very much. Anybody
Okay.
else have, hold on, we'll see, open it for anybody. Any questions from the floor? Anybody have any questions? No questions? Okay, well, thank you again. We appreciate you taking time out to come here to our meeting.
All right, could I say one thing?
Closing?
If anybody would like anything, I have a couple of pieces on the LaSalle Street tax, which I would be glad to share with you at the end of the meeting. So, thank you very much.
Next, I'm going to call up one that we very seldom get here in Berwyn, and this is somebody seeking the office of president. Jill Stein is here, and people across America are standing up against a failed and broken system, and we could give them a political home. A movement that to get the big money out of politics and put the people back in. A movement for real democracy and real solutions. An incredible 58% of Americans want a new majority party. A strong Green campaign will give voice to this rising majority and empower a new generation that knows there's no future in politics as usual. The power to create this world is not in our hopes, it's not in our dreams, it is in our hands. I'd like to introduce Jill Stein.
She's actually not here, though.
Oh, she's not here.
No, we put her literature out. She'll be here a week from today at the People's Church in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
We need a much bigger venue for her.
I would say, boy, that's a first for us, having
No.
a candidate running for president.
No, I'm sorry. We put the literature out
All
there.
right.
Next Thursday.
All right, I will continue.
I didn't see her. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We might as well put that there.
Okay, the next office that I'm going to introduce is for candidates for clerk of the circuit court. And I have one here for Diane Shapiro, a lifelong resident of Chicago. She was raised in West Rogers Park neighborhood and currently resides on the north side of Chicago, where she is the third-term elected Republican committeeman of the 46th Ward. She is a graduate of Northwestern University, Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology and General Education. University of Illinois at Chicago's Master's degree in Communication and Theater and the City Colleges of Chicago. Let's see, is there a place here? Certification in addition, constant, and speaks several languages, including Spanish, German, Italian, Hebrew, and American Sign Language. She is a member of and on boards of numerous police organizations, ABATE, a motorcycle rights organization, and a strong Second Amendment supporter. She is again challenging the Chicago machine as later Republican candidate for County Circuit Clerk. In 2008 and 2012, despite not winning the election, she was the top Republican vote getter and received the endorsement of Chicago Tribune, Sun-Times, and Daily Herald. She is above all else driven by a sense of ethics and desire to be a public servant rather than a politician. For 33 years, she was employed by Cook County in the Office of Cook County Recorder of Deeds, Cook County Sheriff's Office, and Cook County Adult Probation Department. During her last 7 years, was the only Spanish-speaking officer in the pre-sentence investigation unit. Besides her years of honorable service, she also produced Shrine and other types of circuses across the United States as general manager, assistant producer, and occasional ringmasteress announcer. She also taught public speaking at Triton College for 11 years with excellent reviews from her students and juvenile justice at Harper College. Her goal is to be a circuit court clerk who will lead by example, serve the public in her elected duties of overseeing the management of all court files, bonds, notifications, etc., which are under the jurisdiction of that office, and intend to upgrade and modernize the office by automating as many functions as possible, reducing waste, mismanagement, unnecessary positions, and fraud. Install Wi-Fi throughout the court system, as well as day of filing imaging. Set up a countywide police court notification system that makes that department the third largest in the United States, one of the most professionally run in the courts country by being a hands-on responsible leader who, by example and daily presence in the court, will truly bring the office into the 21st century and restore respect, order, and integrity to the Cook County Circuit Court system. Diane Sawyer.
No.
And then again.
Pretty close it. I'm Diane Shapiro. You can find out a lot about me on the internet. I've got a lot of videos and a lot of information about me. I live my life in the sunshine. I have a listed phone number, and I always will. I was a Cook County adult probation officer, and I worked in the sheriff's office. Beside all that, over 30 years of experience actually working in the courts and using the court system, which has not been significantly modified since it was first installed by Aurelia Kuczynski. And there are two orders that are not in compliance from '09, signed by Judge James Holderman, and in 2014 by Judge Ruben Castillo. I'm running for Cook County Circuit Court Clerk because I believe in ending politics as usual in the clerk's office. I do not and will not accept money from an employee. When I become Cook County Circuit Court Clerk, there will be no fundraising whatsoever. I will lend my name to other causes, but I believe in a strong separation of money and politics. I'm running for office because I know that I'm the right person at the right time, can lead by example. I have done this before, but the thing I'm most proud of is being a public servant. The thing I'm most proud of is my years of public service to Cook County, besides producing shrine circuses, being the Director of Safety and Education for the Motorcycle Rights Organization. If any of you know motorcyclists, we lobby on behalf of all two-wheel drivers, motorcycles, bicycles, you name it, because they're constantly being challenged by lawsuits, and forgive me, it's embarrassing, but we need a voice. The people need a voice. I want to be the people's voice. I want to work with everyone. We're going to have a beautiful court system where people come, cases are taken care of as quickly as possible. We're going to install not only Wi-Fi, we're going to implement Rocket Docket, which could and should have been done 10 years ago. The modernization of the computers should have been done 10 years ago. We would be able to eliminate low-level patronage, waste, and pay-to-play politics. That's always been a problem for me, especially since I did work in the courts. And I well remember working in the sheriff's office and being expected to buy the $35, it was 1976, so you'll understand the cost, $35 golf tickets, basically as a condition of employment. That will end with me. No chauffeurs, no bodyguards. My idea of a chauffeur is a CTA bus driver. I know how to drive my own car. Give me a gasoline allowance, and I will be everywhere in the county. I've worked in Bridgeview, Markham, Maywood, Skokie, Rolling Meadows, most of the police courts in Cook County. I know how to lead by example. I am a candidate of the people, and I want to serve all people. To me, it's about honor and dignity, self-respect. We're going to, again, end politics as usual in the courts, and I'd rather answer questions than stand before you and give a spiel, because I don't want to pander to any audience. I want you to look me up. I want you to research me. I want you to watch my videos on YouTube. Call me on the phone. I will always be accessible. There will not be layers between me and the people. If there's ever a problem, court files will not get lost. Everything's going to be taken care of quickly. I know how to do it. I worked there for over 30 years. Thank you.
Okay, now we kind of covered these questions already with your introduction. Number one, you have previously said that the clerk's office is poorly run. What will you do to improve the office?
Be present and accountable in every courthouse, available to the people. I would actually even suggest combining the Office of Circuit Court Clerk with the Recorder of Deeds office, where I did work for over 3 years. Eliminate the Circuit Court Clerk position as elective because it's too open to political influence, and make it work for the people. We're already overtaxed. We are paying a corruption tax for the people of Cook County who are in management positions. It's time. 200 years ago plus, people staged a revolution over an unfair tax on tea. We are being taxed unfairly. We are being taxed without representation in insidious ways to support these people who only know how to raise taxes rather than cut their own costs. And I know how to cut costs, and I would even give back 10% of my salary. And I would love, more than anything, to be the last elected circuit court clerk in Cook County, the first Republican ever, and show the taxpayers of Cook County what excellent, responsible, honor, and dignity in government is. I want you to be proud of me. Thank you.
Second question, how will you coordinate your office with the state's attorney's office and the county courts?
Very easy, because the state's attorney cannot proceed with cases without files in court. And I don't know if you folks know, but a lot of files are often lost and mislaid in court. And I, as an adult probation officer, investigator, often encountered files that were missing important documents, including the arrest report, to write up a case. That will end. Every clerk where anything is missing will be held personally responsible. Do you know that 4 years ago, an employee of the clerk's office, Jeanette Niebauer, was arrested in a Friday news dump, shredding court files at home. Recently, a friend of mine, there was a federal order not to be evicted, got evicted by the sheriff. Just got an $824,000 judgment because of the clerk's inability to control the files and an official federal eviction order to not evict someone signed by Judge Wayne Anderson with a phone call to the circuit court clerk, from my understanding, to not have this man evicted. Thank you. We're paying $824,000 of our money. That's not the only case, but that's a pretty large judgment for misfeasance in the clerk's office. Every clerk will be held accountable for those files, secondarily me. The buck will fall on my shoulder, will stand before me, and I will be accountable. Nothing is going to get lost. Everything is going to be protected, and every taxpayer in Cook County will have personal access to me. You pay my salary, I owe you.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the floor? Question, yes.
I'm a court reporter. I spend a lot of time in Cook County courts. I see attorneys writing orders still using carbon paper.
I will get off that. That is still going on. It's an embarrassment. This technology, by the way, do you remember Jeannie Messenger? Jeannie Spreetsma? Okay, well, I go way, way back. I went to CCC with her and a lot of the other court reporters. I am not worthy. I can't type more than 35 words a minute, no matter how I try. There is no reason on earth why we should still be using carbon paper. There is no reason on earth why we should be using bargain basement technology. I worked in the courts. This could have all been expedited 10 years ago with modernization. It will stop.
Could there be a public computer for attorneys to write orders on, and could there be a printer, and could there be a copy machine? So when I need a case caption, I can just throw it on the copier and grab it instead of handwriting, sometimes page long.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
It's hideous. It's insane.
It's embarrassing that in 2016, not only are we still using carbon paper, but we are going to do a full forensic audit and find out where that money, which was assigned for modernization of the technology. We're going to do a full forensic audit, find where the money is being wasted. We're going to get into that warehouse where files are not carefully looked after. We're going to have excellent governance, and I will have personal accountability, working with the judges, with the state's attorneys. Rocket Docket will absolutely push cases through quickly. And Rocket Docket's from the 70s. My gosh.
And I used to be an official, so I can tell you there's plenty of corruption and patronage in the court reporter's office in Cook County.
No. Do tell. I'm so shocked.
Anybody else?
Who'd have
Questions?
thunk?
Any other questions?
I saw it myself. It was embarrassing.
Anybody else? No? Okay, well, thank
I'll
you.
be happy to
Thank
stay
you,
after
Diana.
and answer any questions that you might think of, because I do have the answers. I worked in the courts for over 30 years. We can fix it. We can make it work for everyone. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker, I believe she walked in a little after we began. The current clerk of the circuit court, Dorothy Brown.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. Good to see see all of you again, and thank you, Mr. Santiago, for doing this every year. It was a little colder the last time we were here.
Yes, it was.
But this is a great day. But good to see all of you, and obviously, as Mr. Santiago has said, I'm Dorothy Brown. I'm the current clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. And I just feel that during these very serious times, it's very important that we have a clerk of the Circuit Court that's going to protect the records for all the citizens of Cook County, and that we have a clerk of the Circuit Court that is qualified to run the office. First of all, as an attorney, I understand the importance of court records. As a certified public accountant, I understand business processes and the finances and how to make sure. So we collect over $300 million a year. We also are responsible for collecting all the fees and fines, the bail bond money, all of that. So that has to be properly controlled. I also have an MBA in finance, so I understand finance from that perspective. We have to invest our money. See, this is a business, and it's important that you have someone that can actually operate that business. I have a minor in technology, so I understand the technology. You know, we have a management information systems department, but you have to have someone to be able to guide them in that technology. So I have that kind of background. Since I've been in the office, of course, I inherited a very antiquated office, as some of the things that you've just heard. But we have done so many things to bring it into the 21st century. We actually were able to, when I took office, they were literally writing in docket books, the large docket books, results of cases. So I had to automate 2 divisions. First, you have to prioritize things as you go along. You can't do everything at once because you don't have the staff nor the funding to do everything, but you have to set priorities. So automating the probate division and the county division were top of my priority list. After that, I brought in a $4 million cashiering and security system to make sure that as my cashiers were collecting, we had cameras on all of them, that as we recorded as the money was collected, it was being actually added to the general ledger. We also have automatic deposits of all the checks to the banks. We only have to secure the cash and get that to the banks, but the checks go automatically. So that's the cashiering and security system. Then we put in place an electronic filing system and an imaging and document management system. Now, the imaging and document management system, we have almost 400 million images of the paper. When people bring paper in, we turn it into an electronic image. We also permit you as citizens, as well as attorneys, to electronically file from the safety of their home or their office. And I was the one that really pushed the Administrative Office of Illinois Court to bring electronic filing to the court system. They have been meeting since 1992. And when I took office in 2000, I told the Administrative Office of Illinois Court's director, because you're managed by the Illinois Supreme Court, you don't just do everything on your own. You can't just say, I'm going to. You're controlled by the Illinois Supreme Court, you're controlled by the Chief Judge, and you're controlled by the General Assembly laws that they pass. So you can't just say, I'm going to. You have to get permission for many things from either the Chief Judge or the Supreme Court. So I let them know that attorneys wanted electronic filing. And not 2 months later, after I met with the director, after they had been meeting since 1992, was there a rule that came out of the Supreme Court to permit us to electronically file. Now, in order for attorneys to be able to actually automatically send their draft orders to the judge, we have to put in a judicial module. Well, I brought a judicial module with my electronic filing system. I can't just put it in. It has to be approved by the Chief Judge. And so we're in the process of now that I've put in electronic filing for all the civil cases, I have actually started to put computers on all of the attorneys' desks so that first of all, they can simply look at my electronic images. And second of all, when the Chief Judge approves us to permit attorneys to draft their orders electronically, they will be able to submit the orders to the judge, and the judge will be able to sign electronically. Now, why do attorneys still use carbon paper? Because they want to. They do not want to bring adequate copies to court, so they have actually brought their own carbon paper. We don't need carbon paper for my clerks. but the attorneys have to have a copy for themselves, a copy for the other side, and a copy and the original for my file. So they literally will bring carbon paper into the courts, and when I try and want me to fight it. Well, I want to cut that budget. When I tried to actually take the carbon paper out of the courtrooms about several months ago, I actually got calls from judges begging me to put it back so that because the attorneys want it, because they don't want to have to go get copies, because it's their responsibility to have their copies. I don't even have to permit them. I just need to make sure that they have one form, and that's what I do. But what I have done for that is to give them the documents that are NCR, so that they have automatic carbons in between, so they don't have to have carbon paper. Well, they don't want to use that. They want to bring their own form that they have had customized for themselves, so they want carbon paper. So that's why they have carbon paper. However, let me just close by saying this. We're in the process of putting in a brand new electronic case management system. And the Supreme Court issued a ruling recently saying, as of January 1st, 2018, everybody, attorneys, pro se, even the folk in the courtroom, are going to have to electronically file. So we won't have to worry about paper at all, because all of our records will be electronic. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay. Question for you before I open it up to the audience. Since you were elected, you've made a lot of improvements in the office itself. What improvements do you see if you're re-elected?
Well, one of the things I do want to say, because a lot of people don't know that we have a mobile app. You can go into your Google Play Store, talk about electronic technology. I'm one of only 3 clerks of courts in the entire country that has a mobile app, built in-house by my technology staff. So you can go into your Google Play Store or your Apple Store and download a mobile app to search any case. You can search it by name or by case number, if you have the case number. And you can also search traffic tickets. I know you guys don't get traffic tickets, but just in case you do, you can actually find your traffic ticket by your driver's license number or your ticket number. And so I want to make sure that individuals are using this more. And with we want to make our records the official electronic record, the official court record. So we have been in the process of working with the Chief Judge to submit a request to the Illinois Supreme Court to make the electronic record the official court record. Now, in order to do that, we have to make sure that there's electronic access to all of the images that we already have in place for the customers. So we have our, there's Lisa, hi Lisa, for the public, and we have the public access terminals, digital access terminals. We also have purchased computers for every attorney's desk, so we'll be putting those in court. Now, I don't have responsibility for giving the state's attorney and public defender computers, but I've taken on that responsibility because I have these images, and I don't want to have to take that paper to the courtroom. I want them to be able to pull the electronic image. Now, we work with the Chief Judge so that the majority of the judges have computers on their benches. Now, some judges, we actually put computers on their benches, and they took them off because they prefer to have the paper. Now, that's just a transition. I think in the long run, everyone will be willing to look at the electronic image, because as of 2009, we started with our Chancery Division. Everything is electronic, and moving on, and we moved on up to the Criminal Division. Even the Criminal Division, you can actually pull up on the computer the electronic image. So, with that, with getting electronic filing in, and if someone brings in paper, having the images actually turned into electronic images, we can ask the Supreme Court to permit us to make the electronic record the official court record, as long as everyone has the opportunity to see it.
Very good. Second question, are you in favor of nonpartisan elections for all county offices, similar to the City of Chicago elections?
Well, you're going to have to run one way or the other, whether it's partisan. I run both ways, and so I haven't really given it any thought. So I think I can win either way.
Going back to what you said about them taking computers off and doing paperwork, when I was teaching drafting, it was board and T-square. And then when the computers came in, I had to go to different companies and teach them how to use the computers. but some of the old timers that were near retirement says, here's my computer, the board and T-square. It's not the board and T-square.
That's right.
So sometimes it's hard to make change.
It's hard, but but we're transitioning there, and what I have done, Mr. Santiago, I worked with the chief judge, and I told him that I would be willing to have my staff to train the judges on how to open up the electronic images. We have actually did one-on-one training with some of the judges. We've done group trainings with others. So that they can all feel very comfortable, because I know that this technology, it's not easy for everyone, and so we have to do everything we can. But if you just simply use it, because it's really, really simple, you'll feel more comfortable with it. So we're trying to make more of them comfortable with it, and I think that we're going in the right direction.
Okay, audience, any questions? Any questions? Yes.
When you started, what was your staff count and what is it now? And what do you project?
Okay, when I started, I was at 2,300. Oh my goodness. Thank you. You got that on camera?
Did I save it?
I'm glad I did. We don't want to be on YouTube falling, right? When I started, I was at 2,300, and now I'm about 1,670, something like that. So we've lost about 700 individuals over the years. And my projection, with the electronic filing being mandatory and e-records being official court record, I think by 2020 we'll probably be down 1,000 or less, because we should be able to utilize fewer people because of the technology, and so I see it dwindling and over the years because of the technology, and that's where it should be. I'm hoping that we're able to do that, however, through attrition. I hate to see people lose their jobs. People go homeless, become homeless, and all of that. So I'm thinking that over the years, this is 2016, that's 4 years from now, that we should be able to do that by attrition as people retire, because I do have a lot of people that have a lot of seniority. So over the years, they'll be able to retire, and then we'll be able to just not replace them and get down to where we need to be.
Anybody else? Questions? Anybody? Yes.
Are the clerks in the courtrooms, are they under the jurisdiction of your office?
Yes.
Okay, because I find that many of them, not all, but many of them are hostile to court reporters. They're not very nice. Sometimes they're hostile to litigants.